Arf arf! Brownie here, and today we're looking at possibly one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen. No exaggeration here. I mean, just look at the scenery. If I could live in these environments for the rest of my days, I'd be so happy. Well, maybe not because they're all mostly abandoned. But anyways, the game we're talking about is called Tasomachi Behind the Twilight, and it's one that I feel flew very much under the radar. The art design from this game is from Nokris, who worked on titles such as Breath of the Wild, Final Fantasy XIV, and Pokemon Sword and Shield, and it really shows. It starts out with the main character Yukomo crashing her airship in a mysterious town covered by fog. From there it plays out very much like a collectathon platformer with more emphasis on exploration through its three very large locations, but not without its fair share of platforming challenges. Every time you enter a town, you start out with limited access to its areas due to fog. After collecting a few sources of Earth, which are the game's Jiggies or stars, you'll find a way to a sacred tree sanctuary, which each has 4 challenges. These are usually platforming segments, where you'll be tested on your ability to deal with things like moving platforms, rotating platforms, disappearing platforms, invisible platforms, platforms that alternate when you jump, and you'll have to use all the new skills you pick up to clear them. Speaking of which, there are only 3 skills you gain, but all of them open valuable pathways for you. You'll get an instant drop, which is kind of like a ground pound, an air dash, and a mid-air jump. That's not to say all the challenges use these skills though. Some of them function more as puzzles, in which you'll have to discover the correct sequence of switches to hit, for example. After completing all the challenges in a sacred tree sanctuary, you'll lift a little bit of the fog, and can then explore more of the city. Solve 2 sacred tree sanctuaries, and then all the fog lifts, and the city looks really pretty, and way more yellow. You have to collect a certain amount of sources of Earth before you can move on to the next city, and then off you go. In total, you need 90 of these collectibles to fix your airship, which then lets you drive around the airship around each of the cities. This is pretty disappointing though, because you can't actually dock it anywhere, and as far as I could tell, the airship only gets you 1 source of Earth and a few coins. Maybe it was good for scouting the city though. Anyways, from here you need 150 sources of Earth to unlock the final area to beat the game, which, considering there are 180 total, will have you exploring a fair bit of each of the cities. There are some patterns to the sources you collect that'll get familiar eventually. Every city, for example, has a bunch of lanterns, and lighting them all will net you a source of Earth. Every time you see one of these tiles, there's likely a cat person nearby giving you a task to do, such as breaking all the vases, pulling all the weeds, kicking all the garbage. No, not joking here, that's actually what she does. So you have these tasks in addition to the sources lying around the city. Considering every city is massive, it'll take you a while to do. It took me about 5 hours to reach the end credits of the game, but at times I was a bit derpy, so it might take you more or less than that. At times I wish I had a map of the city I was in, or some indication of where I was going, or for example how many unlit lanterns were left, as many areas did look the same, and unlike some collectathon worlds, there's no strong defining center point to use as a guide. But that might have ruined some of the charm and difficulty from this game, as it does perfectly capture that feeling of getting lost in your favorite city over and over again, trying to find the last item out of just a few. Some people also might consider this game boring or frustrating, especially when you're looking for those last few sources, but that very much depends on your mindset. If you're just looking to relax and chill out, and not worry about how long it takes you to finish, you'll find what you're looking for eventually. The platforming challenges overall were very fun, and had an appropriate ramp up in difficulty. At the start they were laughably easy, but by the end I found my heart racing on each jump. Not racing too hard though, because you don't lose much progress if you fell in the water, but just enough to make you feel accomplished when you finally get it. Some took me a while to learn because you had to jump with enough momentum from writing start to get it, and doing that with limited platform space could be quite tricky. They were also a nice break from the clear exploration at the end. If I do have any complaints from this game, it's that the end became quite a slog looking for the final sources of Earth when there's seemingly none, and by that time I'd gotten a bit bored of walking around the rather samey cities. But that's minor, as I still really enjoyed the overall experience. If you're one that loved walking around cities, this game will definitely scratch the itch. The visuals are of course gorgeous, and the music, if you've been listening to the background music of this review, is spectacular. The gameplay is solid with no bugs or hiccups as far as I could ever see. As for the value, it's a little short for the price, but considering the effort that was put into designing these worlds, I can't complain much. Overall, I would give the game an 8 out of 10. It wasn't non-stop fun all the time, but it held my attention marvelously well and encouraged me to just relax and zen out, which is hard to get right nowadays. If you're at all a platforming fan or games such as Breath of the Wild, I really encourage you to give this one a look. I think you'll be very surprised and entertained. Thank you all for watching. If you liked this review, I did stream this game live on Twitch, so go check me out there, the link will be in the description. If you want to support the channel, consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel, and let me know in the comments what you think about this game. See you all in the next video,